Hello students, fifth graders. Today I'm going to show you how to shade in your dragon eye. This is a sample of a fifth grader at the upper elementary that has done a very good job of shading. This is something that you really can't rush through. So let me start out with some colors that you need to use, okay? So here are the materials you're going to need. Number one, you're going to do a lot of sharpening your pencil. So make sure you have a good sharpener and a container for the shavings, and make sure you empty your shavings at the end of class. So, important colored pencils to have. You should have a white, you should have a yellow, which you may or may not use. You need a black, and then for the green, you're going to be using a yellow green and a regular green. Okay, so this is probably a better one for me to use. Okay, so let's get started. Let's take a look at the one that I was working on last week, and we kind of have a few different options here. So what I like to do is make sure my color pencils are sharpened and have them ready. It's not real important to get them super sharp, but it's real important to not let them go down to the wood. Once it gets down to the wood, it scrapes your paper, and then you have scrape marks on your paper that you really can't get rid of, and it just looks kind of yucky. So pay attention to how sharp your colored pencils are. All right, so I'm gonna make sure my pencils are sharpened, and we'll get to work. All right, and sometimes if you sharpen them too sharp, they'll break on you. If it keeps happening, you can always go to the other side, like I did on this one. I went to the other side and tried to sharpen it. It wasn't working on this side, but worked well on this side. Okay, all right, so here we go. So the first step to this is going to be creating the outside edge a little bit darker. I'm going to try to zoom in on this the best I can. All right, so we're looking at this edge here. I like to take an eraser and get rid of some of the marks from the graphite. I like to just have more colored pencil on there than anything else. So what I'm going to do is just lightly go in with a black. All right, I might not have done this last time, but I like to put a little bit in. Now, this is where shading is important, and when you shade, as you come into something that's rounded, you release the pressure and just make it go from dark to light. So we have value. Value is how much of this color is down, and I'm really not touching it up too much. I'm just going to go around. And as you can see, this can take some time. You'll get better at it the more you do, but that doesn't mean you'll get necessarily super fast with it, okay? I actually have this upside down right now, but that's fine. Make sure you twist your paper around so your hand works best to your advantage. I guess I'll turn it back upright again. So once I have that done, I like to do what I call, it's like you're preparing your paper for the color. So what I'm going to do is put my little bit of black in, and I'm going to put a little bit of white in here, real kind of dark in the center, and then even though you can't see it, you just kind of try to go super light around and just kind of fade it out around here. Okay, so that's hard to do because you can't see it. All right, now I'm going to go back to my dark green. All right, dark green, and I'm going to go as dark as I can around the edge. Okay. And I just kind of do, it's almost kind of like outlining it. But here's where kids will fail to accomplish this illusion of a three-dimensional object. They don't fade this away. They'll either fade it too fast, so you'll see a line, or they won't fade it at all, which is even worse. So what I'm going to do is I just kind of buff out these corners. Now, the best time to do this is when you have a flat spot on your color pencil. So here we go. Fading it away. Sorry, my camera is just not doing what I want it to do today. I'd love to be able to zoom this in, but it's acting up on me. All right, so I'm going to go in and just fade this as light as possible. I kind of fade it away to the white, okay? Now I'm going to go back in with my light green, okay? I think I just did this with regular green. So I think I'll continue to do that. And then I'll show you another option with the lighter green too, okay? So I'm just going to continue to go over the white as lightly as possible. So there is some white there, okay? And we're going to go over that, fade that around, okay? And then I'm going to go back with my white and just kind of put a little bit more white over the edges here. All right, then I'm going to go back again, so you're really setting things up. I'm going to press down a little harder now. A little harder over this, okay? So we have this nice white underneath this green. So once you have the white, and then you go over it with a light to medium green, now you can blend it together with just the white. So as you can see now, hopefully you can see well with this, it fades well, it blends well. Okay, and you can, if you're not happy with the sides, you can go back a little bit and add a little bit more green. Or maybe if you don't like, it's not dark enough for you, you can always go over it a little bit more with black. Right in the background here, I will just put in jet black in those little spaces between the spaces between the can't think of the name of these things. The tiles, the scales. All right, you can do that later. You don't have to do it now. So I showed you a way to do red, and I'll show you right now up here. I can show you how to do a lighter green, and really you can make any style you want, just as long as you kind of use that black white method. So I can do the same thing with this light green. Okay, so let me go to the top here, and I'll start out with again, I like to erase those lines, but just for the sake of time, I'm not going to. So I'm going to go around the edge with this black, and it's not dark, especially with this light green. You don't really want it super dark. All right, it's just to create a little bit of darkness. Now there's two options. You can just use the regular green here, or you could put a wee bit of this darker green on the edge, and it kind of create more depth, make it look more 3D. All right, then I'm going to go in right over that dark green with my light green, pretty hard, pushing down pretty hard. And now I'm going to fade this away, fade it, release the pressure, going in round little circles. I got a little dull spot on there, which is good. So there I have that. Now I can go over that with white, blend it in, and it'll look great. I'm going to add a little bit extra. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to it, just a little bit of yellow. Warm it up even more. All right. Then I might go over a little bit with the green again. Then I'm going to check it out with my white. This is where everything kind of blends together good. Okay. I really like this one. Looks like a lot of work, but you'll get the hang of it. So I really used all of the colors here. The black and even the dark green. Okay. What if you wanted to do something really different, like a light blue? Okay. You could do a light blue too. So I'm going to show the the way to do this. Now, kids, I'm showing you different ways, but that doesn't mean you're going to put a rainbow effect on here, okay? I would recommend picking maybe just 2 different types and going with that. Maybe more green here, and then sticking with, maybe you can have like highlighted around the eyelids with, you know, blue or red or whatever you choose to do. So I'm going to use, you're going to use the black and the white, and then my color. You could do a light blue, and then you could take a dark blue to make it a little bit more deeper, but let's just stick with this. Okay, so this is just a sample. That doesn't mean you're going to do all different colors. Okay, I'll do a bigger one here. So this is a really, I could probably avoid the black altogether and go with a dark blue instead of, sorry guys, I lost my blue here. Okay, instead of the black, you could just go with a dark blue. A nice sharp pencil is good. Okay, this is not something that's going to happen in one day. So if you think you're going to get this finished in one day, it's not going to happen. All right, so there we go. Pencil broke. Here we go again. It's going to happen. All right, maybe I won't sharpen it that much. So I'm going to go around. This is with a dark blue. Okay, and it's not as dark as I wanted it to be, so I'm going to go in and add a little bit of black. Okay, so when you have a really dark area, gradually working your way into a light area, that's going to create a really nice 3-dimensional effect. It's going to create depth. So more depth, more highlights, okay, the better it will look, the more impressive it will look. This is easily going to take you 3 art sessions. Some kids even like to take it home. I would recommend not taking it home until I meet with you guys next Friday. So here we go. All right, this is the dark, and then I'm releasing my pressure a little bit. And I kind of got to stop here because I forgot to put my white in, so I'm going to go in with a white. Push down medium hard, maybe a little harder if you want it a little lighter. Now I'm going to release the pressure as I go out. So as I go out, I'm really light here. All right, so now I have that darker blue, which I probably went a little further than I should have, but I'll show you 2 different ways of doing the blue. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go right in with this light blue, and I'm going to press down as hard as I can. All right, so it's really hard around here. It's going over that dark blue, but it's now starting to show that baby blue or whatever color. Oh, this is sky blue. And everybody's light blue will be different. These are different sets of markers. These are not Crayolas, or not markers, but colored pencils. I'm not editing this thing because I don't have time to, so you're going to hear a lot of mistakes. I haven't videoed in a while, so here we go. All right, I'm going light around that white. So this sky blue is going to get even lighter yet, which is really cool. I'm going to go in the middle here and maybe push down a little bit harder around here. All right, now, sometimes I don't push down enough on that white. That's going to lighten that up pretty good. So here we go. Now we're going to take, this is the last step. So if you have the white underneath, the white on top, this is where they blend real good. So now I'm going to go in here and circular motion, and you just blend it all in. You don't want to go all the way to the edge with the white. You just kind of leave it like that. Okay? So that I really like how that turned out. So you could do that with a red. You could do it with just about any color. Yellow I would not recommend doing. Now, as far as the inside eye goes, I would just avoid that. Just work on the outside scales and go from there. So, well, what happens if we do a big one? Well, now you're in a bigger area. I believe these are a little bit easier. But what happens with kids when they're working with the small areas, they tend to get a little bit anxious, and they start to kind of go fast through this because they're a little bit overwhelmed by how big this is, okay? Especially if you started out with the smaller ones. If you started out with the bigger ones first, it's up to you. You don't have to do the little ones first. Then maybe you won't have as much anxiety. But really take your time on these kids. You can tell people who rush through it. And you can also tell people who don't put enough value on it. I'm going to show you some samples of kids who didn't put enough value on theirs. So I'm going with my green on this one, my darker green. So now I go around super hard here. Forgot to do did I do my white yet? Probably not. Here I'm going to press down pretty hard on this. Okay, notice how I'm always going circular motion, and I like to get that dull, flat look on my pencil, or the flat portion. It helps blend. So I go light, light, light on the outside. Now I'm going to go in with the dark. I'm pressing down as hard as I can over the black. Okay, remember that black is not super dark. I've seen kids press down really hard on the black. It can still work with that, but it just it gets too dark. Okay, all right, so you see these little lines in the background. That's because I was drawing too dark. So if you're drawing too dark and then you try to erase things, you have that indentation. So you shouldn't be able to see hardly any white paper in this background. Okay, like I said, this one's going to take longer. Okay, so I'm going lighter and lighter. I have a dull, flat spot on this pencil right now, which is good, but it also can be bad because if you're not careful, it can go down to the wood. So I'm always kind of paying attention. The flat spot's good, but can be a disaster if you get down to the wood. Start scraping your paper. All right, so here you go. And now that I have this online, kids, you can watch it at home and practice at home or whatever. So here I'm going to the center. I kind of like to put some light green on these bigger ones. I think it looks neat if you have colors like that. So if you notice, I'm mixing colors that are kind of similar to each other. So a light green and yellow green and a dark green and then a baby blue with a dark blue. Okay. You could actually do the same with a red and a pink. So now I'm just going to go in a little bit with my I really like this color mixed in with my green. So I'm just going to go a little bit in here with some of this. Okay. And like I said, you want to try to keep these all the same except a highlight maybe around the eye, but don't put random colors all over the place. I call that the circus effect. You just got so many random colors. It's too busy. Okay, so I'm going to go over here with that light green, but I'm still going to go, I keep going over with the darker green too. Remember, we still have that white inside there. Okay, all right. These bigger ones you really want to pay attention to. So now I'm going to take my white, still not happy here. A little bit more. You don't want to see pencil strokes, that's why I'm always going in circular motion. I can kind of see some pencil strokes in there. All right, so now I go over with the white. Hopefully I can get rid of some of those pencil strokes and blend everything in out to here. And if you notice right out here, it's still not pressed down enough, so I'm going to press down a little harder on this lighter green. I tend to go towards the lighter green with that dark edge of black and dark green. Okay, so I'm going to go in here again, just do a little blending. Just kind of play with it back and forth. And go over it again with the white, kind of blend it in. Remember, don't go all the way to the outside. So that's kind of how it works right there. All right, and as you can see, it's looking pretty three-dimensional. So I want to show you some other ones students have done. Okay, so this person had the right idea, and it's really impressive, but they really didn't put the amount of value. So can you see the value? All right. not enough value. They didn't press down hard enough, okay? This person pressed down hard enough but did nothing on shading. They did not get the concept of the dark around the outside. A little bit here, and I think they just got a little bit sick of shading and they just said, the heck with it, I'm just gonna go in color. We got another one here, not successful, okay? Just all over. It looks good still because they pressed down hard, but not real successful. This one, again, there's no value. It's just too dark. And then this was done wrong, ignore the eye. And then I'm just gonna show you one where this is the kind of people that just don't care about their artwork. So that is what we get when people don't listen, okay? So anyways, I hope this video helps you. We'll see you next week. And we're really shooting for this one. And even with this one, you can see the pencil strokes. So if you can blend away the pencil strokes, you'll be golden. All right, so good luck today, and we'll see you Friday.